Hello and welcome. Welcome back to my video. My name is Valentina. I am behind my Abbey room on Instagram, and this is, I think, my third video will be. Welcome back after a very long pause. I was supposed to upload a third video for the holidays, but in the end I never did because I was caught up in the, I don't know, the holidays laziness, let's say. I feel a bit shaky today because I put some questions on Instagram regarding the life as a yarn shop owner, and these questions will help me hopefully give you an idea of what it means for me to run a shop alone in London. Hopefully something good will come out of these. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's okay. So yeah, I will try and answer your questions honestly, and yeah, let's start, because otherwise I will keep saying not stupid but just silly things. So okay, let's see, this is the first page. Yes, the first question is, was it difficult to stock the Scandinavian yarn brands like Isager, Gepard, etc.? No, it wasn't. It wasn't a problem. When I opened the shop, I knew exactly what kind of shop I wanted. So the first thing I said to myself is, I want to be a little corner of Scandinavia in London. So that's why in my shop you never found any other like French brands or Portuguese yarn brands, because despite their beauty, they didn't speak to me somehow, and I want to try them. I will at some point, but for the shop I wanted Scandinavian brands. And of course, I don't have all the Scandinavian brands. I never was able to stock them all, but a little selection, let's say. So what you have to do is basically, I went on their website and I just wrote an email. I checked for the email address and I reached out via email, and that's how it happened. It's very, like, they were very helpful at the beginning, and it's always been such a pleasure to work with these brands because they're very structured. So I always knew if I had issue, and they're very supportive. So whatever issue I had or question or anything at all, I knew exactly who I was. I sh- uh, who I should have got in contact with. So yeah, it was absolutely easy. Once I knew the brands I wanted, I just reached out for them and asked, look, I'm a new shop. I want to stock your brand. Is it possible? How does it work? And all that stuff. And yeah, they were all super helpful. I think one of the advices I would like to give you if you're thinking about opening a yarn shop of your own is, have an idea of the brands you want to have in your shop, because I think, at least for the way I like it, or for the way I thought about my shop, I wanted a specific selection. I didn't want to bring everything. I didn't want my shop to be some sort of marketplace where you can find everything. I wanted those specific brands, which are the ones I have. Second question is, will you keep the online shop open? And the short answer is no. The long answer is, having an online shop was mostly my nightmare, to be honest. I think the online part is the most difficult part to deal with for me. specifically. So no, I will not have the online part, because when you have an online shop, you will also have to have boxes, tapes, and everything you need to pack orders, from one skein of yarn or one needle to unlimited, limitless quantities of yarn and needles and accessories. So no, I will not. It is actually a profitable business. For me, it wasn't. In these 3 years, I never was able to pay myself a wage, minimum, or whatever. Never, never, ever. Everything I was everything that came out to buy more yarn, more stock, and to bring more qualities or more colors. So yeah, I never did. And that's why also in my shop I never had stitch markers, accessories, project bags, and all this stuff. At some point I had to make a choice, like, do I want to offer people more yarn options, or do I want to bring all these little things that I pretty much consider useless, if I must be honest, because they're equally expensive. If you want to have high quality project bags or needle cases, you have to. Of course, they are expensive for shops as well, because they're very well made, and sometimes behind the brands there's just one person. There are small businesses as well, and obviously they request a certain price, and I decided not to sacrifice that side of the business to have more yarn or more colors. For example, if you think about the Gepard or the Isager offer, they have quite a big offering in terms of yarn qualities, and for each quality they have many colors. I'm thinking about Jensen or Tvini or Spinny or Mohair, or for Isager, I think that's it. Gepard has a huge offering. Cashmere lace, I think they have 2 or 3 pages on their website of cashmere lace and colors. So it's a very huge range. And in order for me to have as much as I could, I had to sacrifice that. So, and for me it was not a profitable business, because London has, I think, the highest minimum wage in Europe, and the rent is crazy, and on top of the rent we have what's called business rates. So basically it's the property value in the boroughs of the cities, and you have to pay this value to the local authorities. So it's a rent on top of the rent. And if you consider also that everything I was buying was coming from Europe, we have custom duties and VAT to pay on top of the shipping. And of course, on top of the order you are making for the shop. So each month for me was some kind of running towards something, or if I have 1K left from this month, I will invest and I will buy more yarn and I will buy more colors, or I will bring the new quality that it's coming out from this brand. So for me, it wasn't. Hence why I've never had help in the shop. I've had people saying, oh, you can hire an intern, or you can hire. Yeah, I could, if only I would be able to pay them a minimum wage and also travel, because traveling through London is not cheap. And yeah, so I couldn't afford help. And for me, it wasn't a profitable business. What is the customer demographic look like? Honestly, I don't know. I've had so many people, like from very young 9-year-old children who came with their parents to buy some yarn for crochet or knitting, to 70-year-old people, ladies. So Anything in between 9 and 70. What were your favorite and least favorite things about having a shop? Okay, my favorite thing about having a shop was um, having all that yarn in one place that I could just touch and admire. And I remember being so happy every time a new yarn or a new quality or even the same yarn I've always had. When those parcels arrived, it was as if it was Christmas for me because it was so like, oh, look at this color, I want this. Oh, I'm thinking about knitting this in that color. So yeah, it was very lovely to have all this yarn. My least favorite part of having a yarn shop was honestly dealing with rude people in shop and online. Sometimes it was very hard because, especially online, people don't really think that behind that shop there's a one person or a team of people, but still people working, trying to do their best every day to accommodate requests and to be helpful. So it was pretty tough. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. I think I did. And also another favorite part was meeting very nice people. I must be honest, especially in person, but also online. I must be honest. It wasn't the thing is sometimes the negative part of something gets more attention than all the positive and the nice outcomes. And I am one of those people who usually see the glass half empty. And this is not very helpful, especially when you have a business and when you are running the business on your own. But yeah, so meeting people in real life has been a blessing for me. Would you turn the shop into an online only business? A short answer is no. Long answer, I already said I never liked the online part much. I mean, I loved packing orders and it was so nice to put all the things and try to guess what people were gonna need. But there were times where it's tough to run an online business, mainly because I don't think the laws in Europe and in the UK protect small businesses much, online small businesses, because I even now I'm trying to vacate the shop from the yarn, and there is the law that because it's an online business I have to be able to guarantee a 14 days return window and to customers. And on some levels this is acceptable and this is correct, but on the other hand I'm trying to close the business. I have the yarn on sale because I want to get rid of that yarn, and if I keep accepting returns I will never be able to close this shop. And it is frustrating because on one hand there is the customer who might not be happy with the yarn or the color, and on the other hand I'm desperately trying to sell as much as I can, and this is not easy, let's say. So, and on top of that, as I already said in my previous answer in the earlier 5 minutes ago, when you have an online shop you have to stock boxes, bags, tapes, and all you need to pack small and very big orders. And I don't have a plan to rent another space or to bring everything in my house. Absolutely not. What are your biggest struggles as a shop owner? This is interesting. My biggest struggle is to work alone, because if I cannot be at the shop, if I cannot open the shop that day, it means I have to go somewhere else that I couldn't postpone. And receiving emails saying, "Oh, I came by the shop and it's closed." it's always frustrating, and it's always, for me, it gives me anxiety because I try my best to communicate the opening hours, when the shop is open, when the shop is closed. If one week I have to close because I cannot be there, or I'm sick, so I cannot be at the shop, I put a banner on the website, I put my Google opening hours updates and everything, and I still get emails about people going to the shop and they found it closed, and they're like, oh, you should be open this day, why is closed? And I'm like, I should, but I'm not at the shop. I changed my opening hours. I put a banner on the website, and you're still there. It shouldn't be my problem, but it still is my problem. I feel very bad, and I feel very anxious. And it also happened, especially the first couple of years, where I was on holiday and I've put the banner on the website saying the shop is closed, it's summer holidays, or it's Christmas time. If you place the order between these and these, the order will be shipped in the next week. I've received messages from people saying, oh, I placed the order on this day, it's been a week, where is my order? And I'm like, okay, I'm on holiday. As I said on my website, your order will be shipped starting from this day on. Oh, okay, I want a refund. I don't want to wait all this time. Okay, here is your refund. So, this is I feel very anxious dealing with these issues, and it hasn't been easy. I remember last year I was on sick leave for the whole March month almost, because I went through surgery and I wasn't able to meet with people and to speak to them. Like literally, I couldn't open my mouth. So I couldn't be at the shop and I had to close, and people were placing orders, and some of them were frustrated because their order wasn't posted in a couple of days' time. This is always very stressful for me, and this is my absolute least favorite part of having the shop, and my struggles. Yeah, I've tried to be as much clear as possible when it comes for opening hours and such, but apparently it's never enough. You would expect, especially when it comes for most small businesses, that and especially because it's London and the city is quite huge, you would expect that people check your opening hours before showing up. And I've always tried to say, look, because I work alone, I don't have somebody else to open the shop for me. And if I cannot be there, it means that something else has come up and I'm not able to make it. So if you send me an email saying that I'm not there, this is not helpful for me. It makes me feel helpless. It makes me feel anxious. It makes me feel guilty because I cannot be there. So I never knew how to communicate clearly and say all these things, just to avoid those angry and frustrated emails mainly. Do you do classes? No idea how to knit, but my sister and I would definitely do a class. I don't do classes. Your best friend is YouTube. If you check on YouTube how to knit, how to do stockinette, how to whatever, YouTube has an answer for you. That's how I've learned how to knit, and still today, I mean, if I have some doubts about some knitting techniques, I always go on YouTube. For example, in December I was knitting on the Viveka cardigan by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and as I said in my vlogs, I wasn't familiar with that kind of stitch. So I went on YouTube and searched how to do half brioche stitch, and that's how I learned how to do half brioche. Brioche is gonna be another thing. I'm gonna make a knit cardigan, and I will be looking for tutorials for brioche stitch. So, or perhaps Petite Knit has already a video, but still, try on YouTube, and if not, Google knitting classes in London, and I'm sure they will have an answer for you. But thank you for this lovely question. Another question is, what did you do before and how it compares to owning a shop? This is an interesting question. If only I had a life before my shop. So basically, the story is this. I came here in London 10 years ago, right after uni. I mean, the couple of months after my degree, I came here with my now husband, and I didn't have any not qualifications because I had 2 degrees at the time. I still do, but I didn't have any references or any job experience. And the London job market is crazy. It was crazy. It's very competitive, and it was very competitive at the time. So I sent CVs, resumes for 2 years and a half, I think, and I never got any call back for interviews or anything at all. And this led to a very slippery slope kind of path where I was depressed, I was anxious, but mostly depressed. I was in such a bad place. I was feeling isolated. My family wasn't here, although they tried, But when family is away, you don't really tell them everything that goes on because you don't want them to worry about you. And that's what I did. And it was very isolating and difficult, very difficult. Um, and I have to be honest, my husband was very helpful during this time. Also, money were not much. And y- when you don't have enough money to do something on your own, and when you don't see an exit strategy for yourself because you're selling all, like you're sending all these resumes but no one is ever calling you back, it's very easy to fall apart and to fall, to just break in pieces and just have no self-confidence, no self-love. Just, it's a very awful thing, and I hope no one ever goes through that. I was feeling in a corner and I wasn't doing anything. Then the pandemic hit. So obviously there wasn't much to do during that time. After the pandemic, I think a year and a half after, I got a job at Beautiful Knitters it's a yarn shop in London. I worked there for 7 months. I think I didn't click much with the owner, so I left. And at the time, there was the idea of opening a yarn shop because I was like, done. I've been waiting for so long for something interesting to happen to me, and it didn't. I've had this opportunity, I've learned a lot. I can perhaps do something for myself for once without thinking about what other people think, or, you know, try not to overthink too much. So I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna try. And here I am. Uh, and so I don't have any comparison to do with owning a shop and not owning a shop. No, basically I do. I think owning a shop is such a huge thing that if you're not strong enough, you're not gonna last. And that's what's happening to me. I don't think I'm strong enough. And because of so many things, yeah, I decided that it doesn't make me happy anymore. So, and it's not just that. Please don't assume that, oh, this is not what I want to do anymore. I'm gonna close down. It's not that. There are other things. Um, and yeah, this led me to this painful decision to close the shop. So what did you do before the shop? I just answered. Will you keep the online shop until you sell out all yarn? No, I will try to sell everything I can until mid-February, and then I will see. I will I will see if my family, my mom wants some yarn. I have some friends here in London, and I will ask them if they want the yarn. Everything else that it's gonna be left, it will go either on a I will get in contact with some charities and some schools and see if they want the yarn. What hit you the hardest about owning a brick and mortar? Mm, I don't think, yeah, dealing with rude people sometimes was difficult. Um, I had some people storming out in the shop because I don't accept cash. So, for example, this is quite something. I would never go to a shop and insult the lady who works there just because they say card payment only. Um, I don't think it's a nice thing to do. And also after the pandemic, no one accepts cash anymore, almost, not even big chains. So why would I, a small business? I'm a woman. I don't want to go around with money and try to dispose of them. I don't, and also, how dare you come into my shop and insult me? And I'm trying to explain myself, and you don't even give me that opportunity. So yeah, this sort of behavior were pretty devastating for me. Yeah, I don't, I, not that I don't like confrontation, but I just don't understand why you would be rude to someone. You would, yeah, just like why you feel entitled to go into a shop and scream, and say, "Oh, you're being, what did she say? You are discriminating. You are this, you are that." And I was like, I was trying to explain. Then she was ranting, and I just said, "Okay, whatever. Do your thing and just leave my shop and leave me alone." Do you feel like owning a shop affected how you feel about knitting in a negative way? No, never, ever. Owning the shop and having bad experiences with customers sometimes, I think it's pretty normal if you have a shop and if you're dealing with people in shop and online. And right now, I know obviously when you are into the situation, you don't have a clear idea of what's happening, especially if this situation is affecting you in a negative way. It has an impact and it has a toll on your mental health, of course, but no one can and never ever make me feel negative about knitting ever. There's no way. I love knitting too much, way too much, to allow the shop or bad experiences in the shop influence my knitting experience. No, it's never gonna happen. How do you choose what yarn to place in the shop? As I said, I've been pretty obsessed with Scandinavian countries since I was in primary school, I say, since I've been able to read, basically. So um, when I decided to have a yarn shop, I said, okay, I want some Scandinavian brands in my shop. And for me, those who like the ones I've got are the best. So it's easy. Then some people, they just don't get, they want yarn to sell, and that's legit as well. I had this idea and um, I wanted my shop to be a little corner of Scandinavia in London. So that was always my thing. And so yeah, then I don't know. I think you decide based on your own personal taste also. If you are a hand-dyed yarn obsessed, or if you love hand-dyed yarn, I assume you would bring some of the hand-dyed brands you like into your shop. Or there are different things that can influence which brands you want, but basically your own personal taste. I think that's the best. What was your highlight of running a shop? Knowing you, Rachel, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get emotional because you are such an amazing person, and I'm so grateful you came by that day into the shop and you stayed throughout these 3 years. And like you, so many other people. So yeah, having very nice people, very supportive, and they check on me periodically. They send me messages. Yeah, it's the best. Thank you, Rachel. What was your background before becoming a shop owner? So I graduated from university. It's an Italian university, and it doesn't really count much here in the UK. It doesn't have any importance, but the bachelor degree was in interpreting and translator. So if I had to pursue this career, I should have traveled more and yeah, get probably a master degree in interpreting or translating from foreign languages to Italian. But nowadays, English is the language of communication and everything, so pretty useless. But I studied languages. I studied Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, and Spanish and French. I think that's that. And then my master degree was in teaching Italian to foreigner people, but who would learn Italian? Like who who does care about that? Yeah, it's pretty weird. So as you, my motivations are I love literature, I love everything that is connected to that, and that's why I pursued these kind of studies. Interpreting and translation was very interesting. It was amazing. We were to translate or interpret Obama's at the UN uh, summit, or so many interesting topics about climate change and politics and everything. But in the end, if you want to be an interpreter, you have to, yeah, there are some things that you have to do, and I've always thought I'm not good at interpreting. It takes it takes a lot of time and dedication and skills, and yeah. So did I answer this question clearly? Probably not, but yeah. Sorry, Sophie. What surprised you the most about being a shop owner? Uh, how difficult it is. As I said, I never look for the half full glass. Yeah, the like I thought, oh, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be so romantic and so cool and so cozy. It's everything but that, because you have to keep the online part consistent. And still today, despite all the efforts and me counting each quality in each color and everything, there are inconsistencies between my online shop and my in-person shop. And you have to update your books, and you have to deal with custom duties and why they didn't release your package, what you need to do, like the documents are not compliant, so you have to get in touch with the brand, and then you have to go back to all these things that are not just connected to yarn and knitting. And it's quite a lot if you're doing everything alone. So yeah. Does knitting and yarn bring you as much joy now as it must have before opening the shop? Yes, forever and ever. I will never stop loving yarn and knitting and being obsessed about all the things that I want to make and all the yarns that I want to try and all the yarns I want to go back to, because I love the rusticness or the quality or whatever. I love yarn and I love knitting, and I always will. How was the process of starting your own shop? What were the best and or the hardest things to do? I miss myself and um, that person who started the shop, because it was pretty amazing. Um, it was lovely and exciting to go around and search for a place. It was adrenalinic to get in contact with that brand, praying that they would say yes, or it's also exciting at the beginning, and I miss that person because I cannot see myself. I cannot find myself anymore. I don't know who I am now, because all the things that I used to love about having a shop are now things that I hate, between brackets. Not in a, I just don't want to do them. I just don't want to go there on Wednesday. I have anxiety because I have to pack the orders and I have to pray that everything goes well with people receiving the orders. And now it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all those furnitures? What am I going to do with all the yarn and everything? And I try to take one day after the other and see how far I go, but it's it gives me anxiety. And but starting the shop, it's just very easy. You First of all, you have to get an idea of what you want in this shop. Do you want, what kind of yarn? What kind of brands do you like? Do you want hand-dyed yarns or not? And if you want hand-dyed yarns, what kind? Just sock yarn, sock sets, or do you want also to have some garment quantity? And do you want to have notions? What kind of notions? Do you want to stock just the petite knit range, or do you want to move and find new independent small businesses who produce bags and sell them? Um, and yeah, finding the space is also a nice challenge. In London, more probably, I don't know, but London was difficult because London is very expensive and it's not easy to find a cheap place. Not that I have one, but it's cheaper than being on the high street. Best and worst things about running a yarn shop, I already said. I love having all that yarn. I can see the colors in real life and I can touch the qualities and see which one they speak to me more, and what I, yeah, all these. And also having to, like, the chance to know so many nice people, it's been a blessing. It's really been something. And the worst part is dealing with rude people online and in person. What's going to happen to all of your stock and your furniture? Good question. I don't know. I have nightmares, or I just, not nightmares, I just have difficulties falling asleep because every single night I'm like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna, basically, what am I gonna do with all these things? My idea was to put the furnitures on on Facebook Marketplace, and hope that the chairs and, for example, the armchairs and the table, I hope someone is gonna ask for them. And as for all the shelving units, I think I'm gonna get in contact with the Heart Foundation. I already donated some stuff to them in the past, and donate them. As for the yarn, as I said, I will try to sell everything that I can within mid-February, and then I will ask mom and friends if they want something, and the rest, I think I'm gonna donate the rest. Because honestly, I don't think it's possible to sell every single skein of yarn in the shop. It's not possible. I'm visiting London in February. I guess I will not be able to visit your shop. Wish you all the strength. Thank you. If you visit within the first 2 weeks, I will be there. If not, I hope I can chat you via Instagram. I can chat with you. What am I saying? I hope I can chat with you via Instagram. I'm always there, and I'm always, from now on, I will be always here. I will be trying to be consistent on YouTube as well. So hopefully we can still chat. Yeah. I'm really sorry if it hasn't worked out. I think you have a great eye for color and comment. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Um, I don't know about these. I'm not sure. I just go with my guts all the time, and sometimes it's not wise, as you know. I yeah, but I try my best. I do what I like in terms of pairing yarns or colors, and I don't think I'm even good at that. I try my best, but I don't know. I always go for a very safe combination, I think, because that's what I like. I don't I My idea is not to go for the wow effect. I want to be able to wear what I'm making because it takes time to make a cardigan or a sweater, and having them tucked away in my drawer is not what I'm going for. I only got to visit once as I live in East Kent. I couldn't find the shop easily. I know it's a weird location, and I always rely on Google Maps for people to find me because how else am I gonna do? Putting the A sign on the pavement is means I have to deal with the Hounslow Council, which is not something I was looking forward to, and I couldn't put any sign into the co-working space because that's the rule. And frankly, I understand because they have so many businesses in there that, can you imagine, they would need probably, I don't know how much space to put all the signs for every business that it's in there. So I had to adapt to their um, rules. But I'm grateful you found me in the end, and yeah, thank you for persevering in the search. If your shop opened onto a street, would it have attracted more customers? I think so, but that wasn't necessarily what I fully wanted, because if you are on the high street, you attract all sorts of people. And if you are a knitter and you know the value of the yarn, I trust you um, are not gonna play with the yarn, because you know that if you are not gonna buy it, somebody else will, and it's not fair that they get to get a skein which was mistreated by the public. I hope it makes sense and it doesn't come in a bad way, but I've seen these, um, and it's not nice when you see people playing with the yarn in a very weird way, and you, of course, you cannot say please don't touch this yarn or please don't treat this cashmere ball in this way. You cannot, but it's hard. So the high street gives you that, probably, with all that kind of visibility that comes to it as well, of course. Being just more hidden away brings you those people who really want to find you because they're knitters, they're crocheters, and they want to visit the shop. So I think it has pros and cons. I'm not necessarily blaming the location for my business not going the way I wanted. I don't think it's the main problem. What would you miss the most and the least if you close the shop? So I will miss the interaction with people because, as I said, I was in a very isolated place before opening the shop, and I hope my intent, my willing is not to lose those connections. I don't want to go back there where I was, and I for myself and for my family, for my husband. Um, and Yeah, that's what I will miss the most. The least, I will not miss packing orders, although I love making boxes and putting the yarn together. Yeah, I will not miss dealing with demanding people. I said it. I'm so sorry. I would like an unvarnished view of your experience owning a yarn shop. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here, answering the question. And so the thing is, whenever I try to be honest and clear about something, I get messages of people disappointed in what I've said, and things, like, oh, I don't think this helps you or the shop. Um, you shouldn't say this or that. And of course, it's my own take. I'm not saying that all the yarn shops work in this way. Um, I don't know how they work. I'm speaking for myself and my own experience. And for me, having a yarn shop wasn't what I thought it would. It was difficult because um, I've always had some difficulties, like finding the balance and putting some clear burdens between me and the shop. Like, I've always identified with the shop, but I'm not the shop. I'm the owner of the shop. And it's a very thin line between the two things. And yeah, that's my experience. I made mistakes. I should probably never have this shop in the first place because I didn't have enough experience. Now I know. Um, but also, I was so exhausted by the situation I was in, like before the pandemic and then the pandemic and everything, that I was like, you know what, if there is this opportunity, I'm just gonna jump on this and see how it goes. And yeah. Would you ever consider hiring someone to help you run the shop? Oh, if I had money, I would have considered that. Of course, I would. I needed help. If you want a shop to work well and be successful, you have to have help. You need someone who takes care of the customers. You need someone who helps you with the bookkeeping, possibly an accountant. You need someone who helps you with the online part of the shop, and you would need someone to take care of the Instagram part of the shop, because that is important as well. So I would have needed not one but at least 3 to 4 people. Not and not, definitely not enough money to pay all of them for the London minimum wage and expenses that you have to deal with. What is the most unexpected thing that you find you have to spend time on as a shop owner? Everything that is not knitting. So, yeah, putting the yarn on the shelves is pretty expected, of course, but the amount of time that it takes to curate and take care of the online shop, it's insane. It's genuinely insane. And I knew that that was a thing, but I didn't. And also packing orders. Oh my gosh, it takes time. And because of the money issue, it was me who, I also had to go physically to the post office, queuing to put the parcels into their hands to be shipped to customers. So that takes time. We had in Chiswick some disruptions to the post office service, so we only had the delivery office open. If you are in London or in the UK, you understand this. And the delivery office was open between 8 and 10 a.m. So I don't even want to say how many times I got up at 6 to be at the shop at 7 and start packing orders until 10, and then doing some other back office work and open at midday and dealing with people until 4 p.m. It is exhausting, and there were days where I probably was not the friendliest helper in the shop, and I know that, and I regret that, but at the same time I couldn't do I couldn't, things were what they were, and yeah, and that's very unexpected. Yeah. And also, the realization of not being able to hire someone was unexpected. I thought, okay, after the first year I will probably be able to hire help. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. How did you decide on yarn needles to stock? Were there brands you wanted but couldn't get? So I decided about my stock based on what I used and what I really liked, and also of what I wanted to try. For example, I didn't have the chance before having the shop to try out the Gepard range, and but I knew the brand and I wanted to have the brand in my shop. And when I did, I was so happy because the yarn is amazing. As for the needles, Cynit is something I use and I've always used since day zero to start knitting and knitting. So I wanted to have Cynit exclusively. And then I decided on Chagu as well because they are a very high quality brand, and there are some people who don't like to knit with bamboo needles. So I wanted to offer the metal best range, at least for my own personal taste, and the best for bamboo lovers. So yeah, I think everything I've had in the shop was and is based on what I love and what I use. Um, there were brands you wanted? No, everything I wanted in the end I was able to get. So I'm pretty happy about that. What makes you regret opening your shop so much? I think it's a romanticized dream for many. Yes, it is. Um, and I think it's natural that it is, because it is a beautiful kind of job. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. You are surrounded by beautiful yarn. You get to squish and see the colors, and you get to meet amazing people who knit the most amazing garments, and they teach you something. Each and every one of the customers I've had in the shop, they taught me something on a personal or on a knitting level. I have, yeah, so this is amazing, but the amount of sacrifices and the amount of time that having a yarn shop takes is also important to consider. So if you don't have help, if you don't have a business partner, if you don't have a business plan, and if you don't ask for a mortgage to get as much money as you possibly can to make the shop successful from day zero, then you should probably reconsider. I should have done all this and I didn't. So this is a regret, but also, think about the fact that I have decided to close the shop. If I were involved into mortgage and loan, not mortgage, sorry, the mortgage is for the house, loan, um, it would have been so difficult for me to walk away from the shop the way I'm doing, because of course you have some things to take care of with the bank as well. So yeah, in the end it's not the worst. I try to say this to myself, and it will be okay. It's just a shop. It was your baby, but it's just a shop, so you will be fine. Hopefully, fingers crossed. um, what inspired you to open a yarn shop, and how did you get it off the ground? So I don't know. I loved knitting so much, and the previous shop experience I had, it was good on one side and not so good on the other. Uh, so I said to myself, why you cannot have your own and manage this shop, with your own terms? And also, I've been waiting for so long for something to happen, and it didn't. So I was like, you know what? This is your this is your moment. Take this opportunity or do something else, because you need to do something with yourself. And in the end, I decided to go for the shop, and here I am. How did you get it off the ground? I don't know. I was just from one day, you just I was toying with the idea of having my own shop for months, and at some point I was like, you know what, now or never. Either I'm gonna look for places, I'm gonna search for a space to have my own yarn shop, or it will never happen again. And that's how it happened. I am a very impulsive person. That's how it happened. Next question is, when did you open your shop and how did it come about? So I opened my shop, I think it was, I don't know, I think 3 years ago. I think it is 3 years, 3 years in March, and I will be closing in February. So almost 3 full years. And as I said, I was coming from a very bad place between the pandemic and before the pandemic. Then, after, I got the chance to work in a yarn shop in London, and it didn't. Although I'm very grateful about that experience, but it I didn't click with the owner, and I left. And after I left, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it my own yarn shop, my own terms, the brands I love and the brands I want to know more. Like Isayer, they have a big range and I've never had the chance to try them out, and I wanted to have this Scandinavian corner, and I was like, you know what, this is gonna be now or never. And I'm very impulsive, as I just said. I'm very impulsive, and this is sometimes good but also not good because then you end up like I am, closing down your shop. So um, yeah, that's that's how it all came to life, and that's how it's all going down. In the end, I was just telling my husband yesterday, I made so many mistakes, and probably the shop should have never happened in the first place, because you need a business plan and you need a proper um, you need some help for the financial part of the shop, because you need to be able to hire people to help you make the business successful. You have to run classes, you have to run knitting events, you have to host, I don't know, even book signing from designers, or you have to. I would have loved to invite Scandinavian designers to London and, do some sort of meet and greet kind of event. It would have been my dream, but I wasn't very famous. I still am not a big name in the yarn shop scene in London. So I doubt any big Scandinavian, Danish mainly, designer would come to my shop to chat about whatever their designing process, let's say, for example. Or if they start with the design, or they start from the yarn when it comes to putting a pattern out. What's their designing process? This is ultimately what's like I'm or what's the test meeting process like. What makes you think about hiring um, a tester or another? Or how do you ask yarn brands for yarn support when it comes to a test knit? You know, all these questions. It would have been lovely to have them, but of course, what are you offering them? I wasn't in a position to offer anything to anyone because I wasn't well known. I still am not, and I didn't have any leverage. But I had ideas, but not much money or power to implement them. And in the end, that's how you go down, because yeah, I didn't invest much in these sort of things because I didn't have the capacity to do all the things on my own, and I didn't have the money to pay for help. So yeah, it's a vicious cycle, and or a corner you are in, and there's no way to escape or to find a way to thrive in the field. And in the end, yeah, I decided this is not how I want to run a shop. If I have to drag myself out of the house and go to the shop because I have to, and then I don't have any drive to do anything else, then I'm not gonna do it, because this is wrong and this is not gonna make my shop successful. And yeah, and also, yeah, this is mainly um, that you need resources mainly. And yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say about all the questions. I thank you so much, because these questions, they are very nice. They're amazing, and they really helped me. Uh, Probably give you a backside of the story, give you an idea. I hope I did. I hope I was able to give you an idea about my struggles and the things I love about this shop. If not, if you want to have more, leave me your questions below in the comment section, or yeah, and I will be answering them in writing. Yeah, this is pretty. I feel like this is, I don't know, I feel anxious about these. I just hope, um, yeah, I hope you liked my answers. It doesn't, yeah, these are the answers I have, because that's my experience. Genuinely, that's how it was for me. And as I said, this doesn't apply to all the yarn shops in London or in Europe or in the world. This is my personal experience and my struggles. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for leaving your questions on Instagram. And yeah, I hope to be chatting here soon. Bye.